After the weird request, our guy basically gets exactly what he asked for. The whole ground erupts like literal hellfire, and not a single skeleton is anywhere in sight. Antares just lets out a cold snort and notes how Lin's undead army collapses the moment it touches his flames, clearly implying the kid was overestimating himself. But before he can even finish that thought, a figure suddenly appears right in front of him. Seems like through lifelink and damage transfer, the Skellies took the brunt of the blast, and Lin strolls back in, acting like a smug brat, practically asking if that was really all Antares could do. Antares obviously held back earlier, so now he decides to show what half-step supreme divine power actually looks like. The moment the attack landed, Lin's body outright shatters and disappears without a trace. By now, Antares can no longer sense Lin's aura at all, and he reflects on whether the kid was trying to test something, though there's a hint of concern in his voice. But what he saw next leaves even him stunned. Those skeletons he burned to ashes slowly rose from the ground, and Lin's body is slowly piecing itself back together as well. Lin casually remarks that the attack feels not bad, completely forgetting he was just deleted from existence a second ago. Meanwhile, Antares is trying to figure out how the hell Lin pulled that off. He's certain he wiped out the entire undead legion down to the last bone. And that's when he realizes it. This must have been exactly what Lin wanted to test, some sort of new skill or innate talent. Lin flashes a grin and spills the truth, announcing his new talent, Total Renewal. He explains how the talent works, and even someone like Antares can't hide his shock. He remarks how absurdly powerful it is. Reviving every 10 minutes means even someone like the Demon Emperor would struggle to kill him if Lin simply wanted to get away. But our guy simply tightens his fist and declares it still isn't enough, insisting that it won't be long before he personally settles things with both the dragon and the abyss. Anyway, a while later, the two teleport away. This time, Antares leads him straight into the lower level of the Eternal Trial Grounds, specifically, the Meteor Fall continent. He tells Lin this is one of the most dangerous continents out there, though both the Dragon King's palace and the primordial secret realm are hidden somewhere out here. Lin notes his gratitude, but before he can take in the scenery, a blazing meteor suddenly tears across the sky and slams into the ground, blowing open the terrain. It only took about a second for our guy to figure out how the place got its name. Observing the impact, he admits the meteor's destructive force is easily on par with a level 85 boss attack. Either way, before pushing any deeper, he decides this is the perfect spot to grind a few of his new skills. With that in mind, he repeatedly summons the Headless Knight, planning to run it through the old-fashioned way. Meanwhile, over in the Demon Emperor's palace, things take a dark turn. A dragon-like creature lies chained up, covered in wounds so severe it's hard to tell if it's even alive. The Demon Emperor approaches, and the creature trembles weakly. He casually slices the poor thing open again, extracts the blood, and pours himself a fresh cup of it like it's fine wine. While enjoying his drink, he remarks how foolish Antares is for sending Lin into the lower level. With Antares guarding the kid, he says he wouldn't dare to make a move. But in the lower level, things are very different. And perhaps that idiot Dragon Emperor ever caught wind of this, he'd definitely be interested. News spreads fast and someone is already rushing to report everything to the Dragon Emperor. The moment he hears it, he grits his teeth so hard you can practically hear the killing intent leaking out. Without hesitation, he demands that his forces move out. Meanwhile, our guy finally pushes his Headless Knight to level 70. Stat-wise, it looks solid, but the skills are what really turn this thing into a nightmare. First, there's the charge attack, which allows the knight to charge at the speed of 3,000 meters per second and deal 5 times its strength in damage. Then comes the defensive skill, allowing the knight to throw up a group protective barrier that stacks when there are multiple knights around. And lastly, a passive that flat out ignores every debuff and negative effect thrown at it. The only downside is that he can't summon too many of them, but at the very least, he can now deploy them to lead the rest of his undead army in a full-scale assault. Anyway, he still has 2 other skills that need leveling, so he plans to grind for the rest of the day. Meanwhile, a massive number of dragons have gathered nearby. They've already confirmed Lin's location, and the dense undead aura ahead tells them this is the place. Lin is a little surprised the dragon was so quick to send people after him, but honestly, to him, this feels like dinner delivering itself to his doorstep. Suddenly, a wave of flames erupts above him, and a massive green eye materializes in the sky. The dragons freeze, stunned by something they've never seen before. But before any of them can react, emerald flames out of nowhere and ignites on their body. Their expressions go blank, and in the next instant, they all drop from the sky like puppets with cut strings. No screams, no struggle, and they don't even look like they felt a thing. Lin notes how terrifying the skill was, saying it's almost like their souls were burned out in a single heartbeat. He reflects that without special item or defensive skill, anyone below level 80 would get one tapped by this thing without even realizing what hit them. There were still plenty of dragons left floating around, so Lin decides it's the perfect time to test out his skeletal spear. A bone spear materializes in his hand. He takes aim and casually tosses it upward. One poor bastard barely notices something coming his way before his entire body gets pierced clean through. Lin basically looks like he's running an aimbot program. Each throw lands perfectly, dropping targets one after another. Meanwhile, one spear doesn't slow down at all after tearing through its victim. It keeps flying until it collides with a falling meteor. The impact detonates the meteor mid-air, and something drops out of the explosion. Intrigued, he wondered if meteors now have loot inside of them. Not planning to waste time with the remaining dragons, he rises into the sky and triggers Corpse Explosion. A series of massive explosions erupts overhead, ending the fight in seconds. He then rushes toward the strange rock that fell earlier. His detection spell tells him it's a starlight crystal, condensed from the power of the star god. Lin has heard all kinds of divine titles before, but this one is completely unfamiliar to him, and he recalls absolutely no records mentioning this name, which, he notes, means the god is either incredibly low-key or just incredibly weak. But considering even the lower-level gods like the fire god and water god have historical mentions, so why is this one absent? As he holds the crystal, he's starting to believe that the meteor shower that's raged on for countless years might actually be what's left of the god's power. To confirm, he decides to fire off another test shot. He summons another skeletal spear, aims, and lets it fly. The meteor explodes again, and Lin darts over to catch the crystal. But right as he grabs it, another meteor streaks past him and drops toward the ground. Below is a scorpion-like monster, and this thing looks ready, almost waiting for the opportunity. It leaps up, clamps the meteor in its pincers, crushes it, and snatches the crystal inside. Lin watches in surprise as the creature immediately starts chewing it down. Its power flares stronger by the second, and it was clear to him that the bosses here can power up by devouring these crystals. Before he can do anything else, a group of human professionals arrives. Judging from their outfit, he notes they're from the Galen Guild. They quickly surround the Scorpion boss and begin a coordinated raid. Since he doesn't want to spark unnecessary drama, Lin decides to leave them to their hunt and turns to head out. But the moment he spins around, his expression shifts. Something massive appears overhead, and the pressure alone tells him exactly who it is. The Dragon King. The Dragon King clearly senses him as well, and attacks instantly without a hint of hesitation. Lin knows this is bad, noting this is his first time seeing a Dragon King in person, and beings at this tier are on par with human divine level and that of a demon lord. He definitely didn't expect them to send over an actual Dragon King after him. The sudden appearance of a Dragon King pulls the full attention of the Galen Guild as well. Everyone freezes in disbelief, wondering why a Dragon King is in the lower level at all. It isn't hard for them to tell Lin is only level 70, but none of them can figure out why a Dragon King would personally descend just to take him out. One of the raid members nervously asks their captain whether they should jump in and help the kid. The captain raises his shield and immediately snaps back, saying of course they should, adding that they're all human, and there's no way they're just going to stand there watching one of their own get slaughtered. But he also notes they need to finish off this Scorpion boss first. Leaving it alive would only make everything worse. So he calls out to Lin, telling him to come over so they can deal with the threat together. Lin reflects that the Galen Guild really lives up to its reputation, and he never once had a bad experience with them. They've always been that kind of people. Even if they don't know you, the second they see a Dragon King coming after you, they don't hesitate to step in. With a confident grin, he tells them to stay focused on the boss, and he'll handle the Dragon King himself. And with a single wave of his hand, the sky darkens. In mere seconds, the undead army floods onto the battlefield. Skellies pack the air around him, and then the ground trembles as a throne materializes. Rising from it is the Skeletal King. Meanwhile, the Headless Knight rushes forward at full speed, activating its skill and leading the charge. Meanwhile, the Skeletal King lifts his giant sword, and with a thunderous swing, he brings it crashing down toward the Dragon King.